Okay, so now that I've explained the features of CDP and that I've showed you what computed properties are, and here you have the one that I created here, login counter last 30 days. Let me explain you what the other special purpose computed properties are. That is typically used in product-led growth environments. So you would have stages, for example, that are special computed properties. You would have health, you would have your health score, your expansion score. And the score can be blank, so not filled in, as it were. In this case, it's blank because it's already an enterprise. He cannot have an expansion score. He's already at the highest paying account stage. So you would have churn, you would have scores, you would have signals, and so forth. And so let me explain you in this video how you basically build them. To start with segments. We have segments for every user and every account, and you can build segments basically on everything that we know, on any property that is available, including the computed property. So any property our customer data platform has retrieved from ActiveCampaign, from HubSpot, from Pipedrive, you name it. And easily you can say, well, if that is equal to a certain value, let's say, for example, industry equals certain value, and you will see it will automatically retrieve all the possible values, if that makes sense. So, for example, computer software, you would see those are the 38 accounts that have an industry in HubSpot that is equals to computer software. You can also create conditions on events. For example, you could say, well, if I have a login, an account login that occurred, let's do maybe another one. Let's do feature one that occurred at least 2 times in the last 90 days. 0 counts. Okay. One account. Well, Twitter was one that did feature one occurred at least one time the last 90 days. Let's do the last. Let's do this year. Let's do last year. Okay, and at least 2 times, 3 times. Okay, so we have nine accounts. Let's say that we call this segment now Log Me segment, and you do this, and so now what happens is that these are the accounts that have that are in the Walk Me segment. And if you're going to look at Crossbeam and you're going to look now at his properties and look at his at the computed property segment in the group journey, you see that he's now part that element that value is now part of the computed property segments. In the same way, you're going to define stages, scores, and so forth. The way you do that is the same kind of way. You are going to stages. With stages, you're going to define conditions on anything that you know, property, events, screens, pages, even user account conditions and account user conditions. I'll tell you a bit about this later on. You can create groups and create groups within groups and so forth, where you're going to have the and the or conditions. The way that stages work is that an account is going to look at the conditions of that last stage. If that is true, the account is churn. If not, it's going to go one step earlier, then the account is enterprise. If these conditions are true, if not, one stage earlier, going to check these accounts and so forth until the first one that hasn't any rule, any condition, because any account or any user is always in at least one stage. That's why we know that an account is in trial or in pro or in enterprise or in churn and so forth. The same thing can be done with scores. Let's create a custom score. Custom score, it's easy. The way it works is going to basically have a score with a certain rule one, with a certain importance, and now we can set the conditions. The conditions, if industry, if If description contains the words journey.io, then at least it should have, a certain value to the score. Let's add a second rule, and let's give it another conditions, another importance, and you see that the weights basically divide themselves under different scores. And here you'll have different screens again. So if the main screen was viewed at least one time in the last 90 days, that would be a score. And you add the score, and now you have a WM score. Let's and it's 94% is 50 accounts are negative, and apparently 6% are positive. And so you'll have different things. Important to know is, again, if you're going to look at your accounts and you're going to look at your properties, and here I'm looking at my WM, you see that now a new property was created, WM score. And why is that important? Because now with the CDP you can synchronize that score in real time to your destinations such as HubSpot and so forth.